Oh, yeah, I'm just yelling.
You wanna move on?
Okay, we can call the meeting to order. Capital Projects.
If you want to sit in?
She's happy there.
And
Are you happy with that?
does anyone want to make a comment on anything not on the agenda? Okay. Let's go to the pre-qualification submission update.
Would you like me to?
Do you mind me?
Not shy.
Just yell, yeah.
Sure. Over the last probably month or so, the town has been receiving pre-qualification packages, which basically consist of a statement of qualifications, either as a general contractor or as one of the named file subbids for the project. The opening took place at 10 a.m. It took us about 2 hours to work through opening them and organizing them. The committee, the 4 members of the committee will each take a copy of them back with them to do reviews over the next month. We will have to reissue at least one category, but maybe up to 5. This does not, just because we only received 2 packages for one of the flooring categories, and we need to get it back out on the street. It needs to be out for 2 weeks. And if we receive additional copies, great. It doesn't negate the ones we've received so far. It would just augment them. So everything's going well. Now comes the hard part where we all do our reviews of these packages. Have you counted them up? 73 packages were received.
And you said 8 general contractors?
We had 9.
Wow, that's awesome.
Solo or in partnership?
I'm sorry,
Solo or in partnership?
there's one partnership, and the others are just solo. And it looks like a little bit confusing because Jeff White submitted solo and then also Jeff White, along with,
Arletta?
SAB, but Jeff White on somebody else. So there's like 2 separate packages.
So,
And then, but that's it. There's no other.
Combos?
Other combos. But I mean, looking at the list, obviously, there's a lot of good contractors out there. You know, a lot of Lion Sage Nickerson, Jeff White, Daniel O'Connell, those are very reputable contractors.
It's definitely an interest for the project. It's good.
That is good. That is very good.
And then
What were the categories you have to reissue for, you said?
I believe it's tile. But we received 3 in other categories, and as long as we're reissuing, we can ask for some more. It doesn't hurt.
So I feel like, there's also fire protection. We only got 2.
Got a new one.
Okay, and,
We have 3 fire protection right now. We will put it back out for more.
waterproofing, we had 2, but then 1 just came.
We have,
Alright.
yeah, we have 3 waterproofing. Yeah.
So then you mentioned it goes back, you put it back, those back out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we'll have to get it into central register. We probably can get it advertised next Wednesday. Or Thursday, and then it'll Wednesday. And then it'll be. We can set a time to open them 2 weeks after Wednesday,
Is that,
next Wednesday.
how does that go with, so the 12th is when we'd have, all the ones we got today have to be evaluated?
Yeah,
Do
you can
those get-
start.
Like
yeah.
whenever those are.
When the new ones come in, we'll evaluate those too. So we won't reconvene and discuss them all until we review them all. But yeah, everybody can start working.
But we won't lose any time, right? We'll still have the.
We might,
February 12th.
we might lose a week, but it's not gonna hurt the bids. I don't think, shouldn't.
Any questions on that part?
So was the numbers considered good?
The interest shows interest, right? So this is the only thing you could ask for.
Yeah.
You know, the question is, okay, they submitted applications now. When bid time comes in, we'll see who's gonna bid it, right? That's a separate story.
I would say that this is very positive for the size of project and where we are. It's what we expect. It's good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, I know, Peter, we didn't have too many qualified for the
No,
general contractor for the high school. It was much less. It was like 3. Didn't we have like 3?
we only got 2 bids.
We only got 2 bids, so this is very encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay. 90% plans and specifications. Do we want to do that? Do we want to do it later? Do we want Lauren to go first?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do. I mean, I can go over the schedule. I've got it laid out here, and
Why
I
you
don't
do
know, it
that?
kind of melds into the 90% if Jackie wants to take over part of that, Tupper.
Okay, go
Okay.
over the schedule, Lauren.
Okay. Let me share my screen. 1 second. Teams and Zoom are 2 different. Okay. So this is up also, once I get it on here, this is up also on the SharePoint site in our notebook area. I'll try to make it a little bit bigger. So this is just our agenda here, our schedule that I'll go over right now, and then some permit information that we'll cover afterwards as well. So I tried to color code it a little bit because I wanted to make it, in the past, we had kind of made it, final design versus, pre-qualification versus bidding and all that. So at this point, I've kind of basically put it in chronological order so we can go through it. So just kind of skipping over what we've already done, the 90% package submission went in early November, and we had put out a new version, more updated version, I think later in the month. And I know we were looking for comments from Apex, kind of early in January, but knowing the holidays were going on, we knew that might be a little tough. So I know Jackie and her team are working on getting those to us, hopefully some of them this week, and we'll have some meetings scheduled, hopefully virtual ones next week. So from where we are today is right here. So as Sandy mentioned, we opened and distributed the SOQs and got the ranking matrix. So we're in the pre-qualification process still. Everyone's going to be doing their reference checks approximately till the 28th. Of course, I finally outlined all this, and now we'll change it a little bit. I'll get with Sandy and Jackie, and we can adjust things to make sure we have the couple weeks for the filed subbids that will need to be reissued. So everyone will go through their reference checks, and one of the next items for the final design, as I mentioned, will be the discipline design review meetings. And Jackie can elaborate on this too, but we're planning on having GHD and Apex's teams meet on this, similar to the 60%, but more, I guess, individualized meetings, and we will open that up to any town members, staff members, and then Steve and Peter, who've been involved on all of the regular meetings, will open up to you guys as well. If you'd like to attend. Again, you can, you don't have to. And from that point, we are having our internal design review meeting on Wednesday, the 21st, to go over, comments that we've been getting and go over some of the things that we've been working on. Then from that point, we jump back into the pre-qualification process. We'll distribute the reference checks to the committee. Again, this might change a little bit, as there might be a couple more filed subbids that'll come in. And then our plan is to, on the design front, pencils down on Friday the 30th, which leads into our final design being distributed by Wednesday the 4th. To the group. So we'll just upload it to the SharePoint site like we always do. Again, we'll be reviewing the individual SOQ package by the pre-qualification committee, most likely by approximately February 5th. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit here. And then also on that February 5th date, we'll have an updated opinion of probable construction cost. I was looking at having this update a little bit earlier, but I know that the third-party reviewer who completed the review was on vacation. So I want to make sure we have a little time after we get with them to discuss, in particular, the contingencies. I know Apex has done some comparison reviews of the cost estimates, and we've started that as well, and kind of tweaking things and looking at how they calculated things and how it would look with some of those contingencies on ours. So more to come on that. And then our final design submittal comment review period. So any last minute comments, we'll have another week to check in, and then we'll give time for any last minute updates on our design drawings before we get into the bidding process. And again, pre-qualification, we'll deliberate maybe on that Thursday, the 12th, maybe a little bit later, as Sandy mentioned, and then we'll have our evaluation report and then mail out to all the approved contractors, or we'll mail out to all the contractors, notifying them if they've been pre-qualified or not. So that's the plan. I guess any questions on that, and I'll get in a little bit into bidding. Okay, well, if you think of anything, feel free to interrupt later. So getting onto the bidding process, and again,
Lauren.
Yes.
Just a late comment, Lauren. So basically, back to the 90% design review. By the way, you probably see we're compiling the comments to you, and we hoping to get them over to you by tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Electrical just came in today. At least my comments, I looked at the drawings and they basically say 100% design. So I am in the comment box says I'm just putting the 100% design as opposed to the 90, even though here we say 90.
Oh, yes, good. Yeah, you can do that.
So I'm guessing at some point there will be another submission, which is 100%. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we labeled this one the 100% QA/QC. So yes, there will be a formal 100%, and then bidding package. So, for construction set that'll be issued.
So certainly we could,
February 4th.
Yeah.
I think.
February
On to the
4th.
next
Yeah,
step.
yeah, right. So,
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say that one would be 100%, and then the one that would go out the end of February would be the bid docs.
so again, you'll see the consolidated comments, but like some disciplines have more comments than others, obviously, because some disciplines kind of lagging behind a little bit. But obviously, based on, and I did convey the same message to Sandy and Dave this morning. There's quite a bit of work to be done to get to that point. So the sooner, I guess what I'm trying to offer is, if you want to start setting those individual meetings with different disciplines, we could certainly make them happen as early as maybe this week and early next week, perhaps, so it could to kind of move things along. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Just honestly, let us know when your team is available. We are ready to meet whenever.
Okay.
If we have a lot of the discipline team members, obviously they'll have some meetings, but they're more design focused, so we should be able to work around their schedules.
Yeah, the only one we kind of pushed along a little bit was the architect, and he didn't really have the luxury to kind of consolidate the comments, so he had PDF markups. So we're going to email you those.
Okay.
And then he is ready to get on the call whenever your group is ready. So.
Okay. Yeah, and there has been, over the holidays, there was a lot of work that was done on some of the disciplines. Maybe Dave might have mentioned some of that, but so yeah, it's in process.
Well, Lauren, this schedule's on SharePoint, right?
Yes. Yeah, for I know if I click off of it, I know I'm gonna mess it up. But if you go on when you click onto the regular SharePoint site, if you go to the notebook, this is where our bi-weekly or well, they've been weekly minutes. Pretty much the agendas are held as well as just the notes I've taken from the CPC meetings. So they're all in here.
So can I make a comment on this? So, you know, this on this screen is useless to me. I can't read it from here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hold on,
we
I'm
know-
not finished talking. And in general, we're getting these documents too late, in my opinion. I'd like to have at least 24 hours to review them. I mean, I rush home from Boston, I get this, I had 2 minutes to look it over. It's just not, it's not acceptable. And if we're gonna discuss the schedule, you at least tell me that so I can print it off a SharePoint or make sure it gets distributed to the group before the meeting.
sure. I don't know if it's Erica or someone else who coordinates that. If there's materials that we need to distribute, I can work with her, or just send to send to you guys. That's fine.
Thank you.
So okay, I wanted to go over pre-qual and final design and then moving on to bidding. So as we discussed, I want to say it was probably the last CPC meeting. Obviously, this bidding schedule is based on the permitting items being reviewed and accepted by Mass DEP. So this is, in an ideal situation. So, over the next few weeks, as we start to hear back more from Mass DEP, I heard that we maybe received the pack. I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure of any details yet. Feel free to, pass that on.
Yes, we did.
Okay. So if there's any specific things on that, feel free to forward that on to us and we can, get right on that. So again, this, depending on what evolves in the next few months, this may adjust. But again, this is our ideal situation in order to meet the construction contract execution by June. So this schedule actually is. This was more outlined for, the process that we've been going over. The pre-qualification process was previously distributed with the meeting minutes from December. And I believe this bidding process has been distributed, but I just wanted to consolidate it all together. So again, we're planning on, and I know it's probably a little bit harder to read. Maybe I can make this a little smaller. Maybe not. Okay. We are planning on advertising on or about March 4th after we notify the Central Register. Combi is getting all that information out. So we're planning on having the bid docs ready for that point. As far as we know, we don't necessarily need to provide any paper copies to anyone. Obviously, we'll give some to the town, but it sounds like the plan holder or the like Dodge or whatever will be able to print those out or just send them digitally. So we'll have our advertisement and then we will now open the filed sub bids on March 31st. We will send the canvas of bids to the GEC about 3 days later on April 2nd. We'll open the GC bids about 2 weeks after that, which will be April 15th. And then within a week, we will go through the bid tabulation and provide a recommendation of award to the town on approximately the 21st. From that point, the town will make the request to SRF. And then hopefully within 3 weeks, that's usually the standard turnaround time, we will get a request, or we will be awarded our request to award. Again, all this is ideal with all of the regulatory agencies working within those schedules as well. And then a couple of days later, we'll award to the contractor and execute the construction contracts. We're, tentatively looking at June 12th to, put things a little bit earlier so we have some float time in there, but we need to, per SRF right now, have that done by June 30th. Steve, you got a question?
Yes, with the Massachusetts bidding process, once the GC bids are open, and you've established a low bidder, are you allowed to interview that bidder as to qualify him as far as, I don't mean qualify, but to concur that he has a full understanding of the project and review the bids with him as far as his understanding? Or is that not allowed in the process?
I'm gonna
That's,
go to Sandy on that one.
No, and Ziad's shaking his head as well. No. This is the pre-qualification process we're going through right now is the opportunity to especially, and we spend a lot of time reviewing these generals, and some of the larger subs is to make sure that they are qualified. And if they start bidding it and they say, whoops, this is outside of my comfort zone, they won't submit a bid. And if they're gung ho and anxious and can do it, they're gonna bid, and it's low bidder.
What about if there's any issues as far as the documents and their understanding of what the intention of the documents were versus the specifications and so on? Is there any discussions
Okay.
about those issues and having a
Those-
conversation? Do you?
I'm sorry, Steve, they come up during the bid process, they need to put their questions in writing, and GHD will field every question. Either, and will respond to it either, look in the spec, or we wrote an addenda item to address it. And the addenda is part of your contract documents,
Okay, so the process does not allow it then.
and no.
Okay.
You would get a bid protest big time, so, yeah, it doesn't, and I, if I may, I also want to add that for the request for qualification, that's a big package. We will pull that together for you. So we're during the bidding, we're gonna be gathering all the information, because it's, could be 90 pages. So we'll get you a draft letter and that package, so you can put it on your letterhead, give it back to us.
great. And Lauren, I guess I just wanted to go over, this microphone is real. I wanted to go over with you, I mean, especially given the disparity that we do have in the quotes for the work. There may be an extra step in this, in that the town is not going to sign a contract or make an award if we don't have 100% of the funds that we need. So we would, if the bids come in late April and they are outside of our appropriation, we're gonna have to put it on the town meeting warrant for that extra appropriation, whatever it is. So that will cause a glitch right in the middle of that. I don't
Okay.
think there'll be any problem with timing, because town meeting for us is the first Monday of May. So,
Okay.
but we'll have to have a final number by the first Monday in May. Because if we don't have that, we will not be able to get the appropriation settled before the June 30th cutoff for SRF.
Right, that makes sense.
So,
Actually, you know what? I'll add that into the schedule. So that town meeting is the first Monday in May.
yeah,
That'll be a good milestone to consider.
and if, say, I'll talk to Rich about this, but if we get into the middle of March or you're opening bids, I don't know, if we get anywhere close, we're gonna have to huddle, because, again, we're not legally, we can't legally sign a contract we don't have the appropriation for, and the appropriation we have is for 170 million, period. So if it comes in
Right.
at 171.6, then we would have to go back for 1.6 or transfer funds or do something. So all of it requires town
And
meeting.
demonstrated to SRF as well, because they won't award it
Exactly.
if you don't show
Exactly.
you
So
can fund
I
it.
just want to make
Right.
sure we get, if there's any delay in the bidding and we're not going to get the numbers in time, that could really, that can't happen.
Right. No, yeah, that makes sense.
So while we're on the subject of the schedule, just a good discussion, obviously, right? So we're saying advertise on 3/4, from today's date to probably looking at 6 weeks. So means we have to get the 100% documents ready. We have to have SRF approval to advertise, DP approval to actually move forward with the bid, right? Technical review maybe from DP.
Yeah, and
Do you
the
want-
pack,
Yeah.
the pack, Lauren, is a long list. But even in my review of the list, there are a lot of things on it that I think we just have to say this isn't applicable to the. Like, we have to address, like, we don't
Okay.
necessarily need
Your
to do
restricted
the
pack?
archaeological study, or we don't need to.
Mhm.
So they have just basically given you a list of everything that wasn't in the package, or you didn't address. Right?
In the restricted pack, and we have that.
It's a restricted pack.
I
and you
don't
it-
have it yet.
You
We
will
need it.
have it by the end of
Yeah,
the day.
yeah. Jackie and I talked about it yesterday, or
So-
Jackie Tupper, sorry.
So I guess Sandy, more question to you. So obviously we have the hydrogeo that needs to be approved by DEP, right?
Yeah.
Before we even
We have
go
to put
out.
the groundwater discharge.
Right.
Yes.
So if that's not ready by then, how are we proceeding? Are we gonna bid at risk?
These are discussions we need to have as we go. You can bid it, you can bid without permission, let's call it that. Then you have to decide, what are you putting out there? And it may be that, we may be talking to DEP and they're saying, yeah, I got it approved, I just need to get the letter signed and we're comfortable putting it out there. I will tell you that we have actually awarded without permission to award. Knowing, not signing, you can't sign it, but that's when we were really crunched. This is not setting up that way, but
But knowing
It's a
that
permit.
they have verbally told you that the letters.
yeah, it depends, when we get to this date and the drawings are ready, then we say, okay, what are we missing? How sure are we that we're gonna get it? Because what you're risking is bidding it twice. And so that's what's being risked. But often these discharge permits come in. It's hard to get them moving, yeah, so. But they say, yeah, I read it, I've reviewed everything, I've got this issue, we turn around, okay, you look good. We have to get the letter signed, and we may feel very comfortable going ahead and bidding it.
Mhm.
The main thing that you cannot do is sign it.
Very sensitive to that.
Like Hillary's trying to get in on her phone,
Oh,
admit her.
I'm so sorry.
Just go to admit down
Wait a minute.
underneath, under that, admit, right under Steve's picture.
There's a bar.
Oh,
What am I doing now? I'm so sorry.
That to admit, by the way.
I do it all the time on my notes. Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. Jesus.
So those two permits are still hanging in the breach here. Died.
Hillary, are you with us?
I mean, the groundwater discharge permit, and then we
Yes.
have the
Okay.
SW 37, which is the solid waste piece.
What about the hydrogeo?
Well,
That's part of your groundwater.
Groundwater discharge permit, yeah.
Yeah, if we want to talk briefly about the permit application, seems like a good spot. So, I think as Ziad was saying, so these are the permit applications that have gone in recently or are still awaiting response. So obviously the WP 83 is the hydrogeologic evaluation report, which we keep, we just call the hydrogeo, which went in, that did go in a few months ago now. I could look at the exact date, and maybe Jackie Tupper knows it offhand. So that is one, and technically that is a precursor, that approval is a precursor to the WP 79, which is the individual permit for sewage treatment plant, or what we've been calling it, which it's usually called by, is the groundwater discharge permit, or the GWDP. So I know we've been referencing it as a few things. I was trying to put all the acronyms on here. So as part of this application, we actually talked to Drew Osei at Mass DEP, and that's where he requested a letter be signed by the town. So we prepared a letter, and Jackie Beebe signed a letter for us to submit the groundwater discharge permit for them to concurrently review that with the hydrogeo. So that was done to try to move that ahead more quickly. So those two, and then the SW37s, as Ziad mentioned, there's one that relates to the wastewater treatment facility. Again, these are both minor post-closure use permits. And then there is one that Apex submitted for the one pump station that I think is located on the southern area or southern tip of the landfill, or adjacent to the southern tip of the landfill property. Jackie can chime in on that one.
On the southern tip.
Okay. And then the other one is the Coastal Zone Management, or CZM, Federal Consistency Review. This one went in recently as well. And that one we did have a pre-submittal meeting. I don't believe it's as technical as the groundwater discharge permit. So we're not necessarily worried about that one. Mass Historic, and I think I heard someone mention this. So we did get, because early on in the project, when the site was more located, I'll say like centrally of the site, we didn't need to go and get this intensive survey. But once we started encroaching towards, I want to say it was the west side of the site, it did start encroaching on some of those archaeological sensitive areas. So we did have that intensive permit submitted by PAL. And actually, I think Kim and John, I think they're out there this week, Monday.
They
It's
are.
going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So they're doing that work, and it will determine, what considerations we need to follow during construction. So that's currently going on right now. And then the last thing and that I've got is the Massachusetts Natural Heritage. This was something that we didn't include with the SRF submittal package, but we did, knowing that it was something that we saw from other projects that they were looking for, like basically a positive no from the Natural Heritage Office. We did submit that and got that email back.
So
And-
those both are on the pack list, I think.
So we'll
So
respond
I
to
mean,
it.
there's a lot of things
Okay.
that we just haven't submitted to DEP that you guys have.
And we will get it to them, and we usually will get it to them in batches, in my experience, so
Yeah.
they're not waiting for everything.
Yeah.
And Jackie Tupper and Ziad can talk to anything that they think was a real outlier, but
Yeah, I was just wondering, actually, before I forget on this subject, Lauren, the email that Jeff had sent on 12/16, just before the holidays, was there, and I'm just thinking out loud here, is there a sidebar discussion on whether this groundwater discharge permit would go? I mean, I'm just thinking because we don't want to go back and revise the footprint of the
Site,
beds
no,
for whatever reason, just to make sure. Was there another discussion between Jeff and DEP that, generally speaking, the process is acceptable?
Not that I know of, but we did early on, based on our hydrogeo meeting that we had, gosh, whenever that was in 2020, at the end of 2024, we decided to not try to have a larger recharge, more than 5 gallons
Right.
per day per square foot. So we stayed within DEP's guidelines in order to do anything we could to minimize that review. So we anticipate, I think that's what some of the discussions we had early on, we anticipated that we'd be able to recharge more than that based on the perk tests that were completed, but knowing that that could, very early on kick us into an additional review, we decided to go with that phase 1 recharge of the 5 gallons per day per square foot. So nothing extra as far as I know, other than that.
That answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just, like sometimes sidebar discussion with DEP, like, yeah, okay, this is acceptable, right? So we don't wanna wait 2 or 3 months down the line. It's like,
No, I don't mind
to-
giving them a
you
call
need to
either. Not,
Change the recharge rate, so now all of a sudden everything's gonna have to change, the domino effect.
yeah, that, I doubt they'd even okay it
Yeah.
without wastewater on it already. So that's a good move not to pursue that. Yeah. From my experience.
So-
It sounds like
Yeah.
the good news is you're probably gonna bid in advance and that give you an opportunity in case the numbers are above the appropriation.
Yeah,
But then again, if there is anything, we may have a couple, 3 weeks afloat at the back end of the schedule, maybe.
Trying, yeah.
Yeah,
Things happen.
especially if we come in under bid, of course.
Well, and honestly, things that can happen is we have these qualified contractors. If nobody bids, then we have to assign it to the GC and we have to give them a little time to,
Mm.
oh, I gotta do the masonry now? That won't happen, but it could be something else. We want to give them a little bit of time to adjust. Cause no matter how much time you give them, they're gonna want more anyway.
All right. Are we done
So-
with schedule?
yeah, so I think we're done with the schedule, and actually I had gone over to permits as well, which kind of covered letter E. So I don't know, Jackie, if you had more to touch on for B, or we kind of talked about a little bit.
Like the plans and specs.
The Apex review, so we did talk about getting you our comments by end of day tomorrow, hopefully, most likely, I guess. Like I mentioned, I think all of it is in a Excel table format by discipline, with the exception of the architectural, because that was the PDF markups. We had the architect studio do the architectural review. And like I mentioned, I think he's willing to get on the virtual call with your architect to kind of discuss some of these comments after you had a chance to review them.
Yeah, we can talk tomorrow, Lauren, about the schedule and the comments. In the meetings, like you mentioned, we can start planning them tomorrow.
And then on the cost estimate, we discussed having Jerry get together with their cost estimator, right?
Yeah, I think it would be great to get with him sooner than later. Just some of the contingencies, like how they did that. We obviously and I think you guys did too, kind of back engineered the calculations and how they're applying some of the contingencies to the whole project. Like tariffs were applied to the entire project, so it was on not just the labor but on the materials. So just kind of want to see where where TCI is coming from on some of that, so we can take it into account.
And when was Jackie, I'm sorry. The most recent treatment plant on Cape that's been built, is it still Orleans?
No, Mashpee.
Yeah, but Mashpee's it's so far away, really.
Yeah.
Close to,
Dennis is being built now.
Dennis is
Dennis
being built now, and Dennis came in,
It's very similar to
In
this
Yarmouth.
one. It's about $80 million.
okay,
is
Very
it that similar? Is
Yeah.
it that?
so, okay,
That's
so
all.
that's good to know. I was just, cause it really does matter, that extra hour and a half drive for. They charge us a premium for that.
I mean, I see the point that you guys made about applying the tariffs and the contingency on the overall labor and material. Usually you could either do one or the other, but I'll have Jerry respond to that one.
Yeah, I think just checking with him. I mean, again, even the 20% contingency for the Cape, it was based off of $65 million, which was all of the contingencies added on to their total, $40 million total. So the Cape fee was like $13 million, which I'm not going to say that it couldn't come out that high, but it seemed for a contingency, without too much backing other than, the additional time to get to the place and maybe some, I'm expecting housing or something for workers, if it comes to that. $13 million seems like a lot.
Yeah, admittedly, he did say that it appears, for face value, it appears a little bit too high at 20%, but he said nothing surprises. I mean, obviously, everything's expensive nowadays.
True,
Um,
true.
Yeah, but then again, you may knock it down to 15%, but at the end of the day, it's still an outer Cape and there's cost. And I'm sure like maybe in his calculations, he assumed like all the trades will be here at the same time, which probably not the case. Because, and if you assume housing and per diem and expenses and rentals and everything else, this is probably more conservative the way he showed it, but again, I'll let him speak to that when he gets together with your estimator.
So that hasn't happened yet. The two of them, I mean,
That hasn't happened. This guy was on vacation for like 3 weeks for Christmas.
Okay. Anything else?
I think
You good,
that's,
Lauren?
yeah, I think I'm good. I'll stop sharing. I'm just sharing. This is just the regular agenda, so I'll stop sharing now.
I have a question. So the most recent posting on SharePoint that I saw was the responses to the 60% design from you guys, right?
Yes,
So I guess my question is, how much of that is in the 90% that you're now working on?
so we tried to, during the 90% or we call it 100% review, we try to go back to the comments that we provided at 30 and 60 to see what was addressed, what was not addressed, and kind of limit the comments to that. So instead of going back and forth and filling pages.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any new stuff.
Correct. There shouldn't be any new stuff, right? So we tried the best we could to, it could be some lingering comments here and there from.
Well, there's a lot of it said to be addressed or.
Right. So I think the next steps, again, getting the information over to GHD tomorrow, and then Lauren, her team will go through them. And then we could just do individual, instead of having a workshop, full day, we could just do like individual discipline meetings, I guess, to help expedite things.
And the other thing, Jackie, rather than go back to the town, I'd rather see us tighten our pencils a little bit on the current design. I'd hate to go back to the town. It's got to be a last resort.
It's just the timeline is so quick for.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but I just don't think it's enough.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah, and to speak to that, we have been, I know me and Dave, me and Jackie, have been talking about, things to potentially put as ad alternates should something like that happen. We just need to make sure we order those in a very specific fashion to make sure, since they have to be either awarded or not awarded in order, we just need to be careful about the order that we select for that. So I think, there's definitely, with the town's input, I think there's definitely some things that we can look to put as an ad alt to help should everything come in.
It protects your project. It just protects your project.
No, I
Yeah.
think that's a great idea.
No, I just think we ought to plan ahead, just in case we get in a situation like that. We can go there first before we go to the town meeting.
And if we had an
100%.
alternate spread, we could always, authorize what we needed to move forward for SRF and have something on a hanging extra to be funded at some other.
To be funded. I like that.
Yeah.
It looks to exist right now, and should it be shared amongst the participants at this point?
I'm sorry, Steve, you kind of cut out in the beginning.
Does the list of potential saving ideas exist now? And should that be shared amongst the group?
Oh, I
In our
mean,
brains.
Yeah, I mean, we have been talking about it a little bit. I think it's maybe some things we brought up before. I mean, some of the what I would call maybe the low hanging fruit, and I'll maybe defer to the town on some of this, but I think the salt shed is something that might be able to be handled in a different way. So that's something that we've considered as an ad alternate.
That should be the last ad alternate.
Right. So that's something, in our mind, and I don't, I know what we've talked about the covers, but that's something that could be a later funded item. The cover, not the covers on the sledge holding tanks, but the covers that are located on the, oh my gosh, the SBRs. Okay,
You
SRF
could
in my head.
also, Lauren, you could have the odor control, you could put the covers on without the odor control. So you can have the odor control, not all the odor control, the odor control
Right.
for the SBR can be not there, but you still have covers. And the covers do give you a benefit in keeping your process warmer,
Yeah.
which will make it a little more efficient in the cold weather. So that's something. And then another alternative could be the covers themselves. And these aren't small items, so they help.
Right.
So it's not-
Right.
yeah, honestly, if there's anything I feel comfortable asking town meeting to fund, it would be that, because we're only doing that because people want it.
Another
Right.
thing you could do is just put binder down and not do the surface course on the roads. And
Oh,
you guys can
that's a
go
good
in
idea.
and do this course later.
I was actually thinking,
It all adds up.
Yeah,
one of the early comments before you came on board, we had, to pull the restoration, contracts all together, just kick it down the line a little bit, instead of.
Well, you want a road, yeah, I think you need to binder
You
down,
could
yeah.
do, like planting, fencing, all that stuff.
You could,
later.
Oh, yeah, the planting and fencing.
Planting, fencing.
Well,
all
fencing, maybe not for in some areas, but
yeah, we'll definitely, brainstorm, and sometimes even little ones can help, but we'll really
Yeah, I
take a
think
look at
ad
it.
alternates will help us a lot. I do.
They've been a lifesaver
I think
many
that's very
times.
smart.
yeah, so maybe, the next few weeks of meetings will, I know obviously Jackie Tupper and I talk weekly and kind of been, spitballing some of these ideas. And, if we think of other things, we can definitely add that. I mean, I like the binder, only putting down the binder course idea, some of the plantings. I think those are some good ideas.
I just think you should put the list together right now and give it to us, and so we can look at it, as well as seeing what the dollar values are associated with it, to make sure it's a meaningful list
Yeah,
of good
Definitely.
values.
And even if you feel more comfortable after we get through our cost estimating exercise, it's still not a bad idea to have alternates in this economic climate.
Yeah.
We don't want to rebid.
Not doing it.
Okay, so we're gonna have the internal meetings over the next month, and we have the next meeting is February 10th. So Steve, that could be a good meeting, because by then we will have final plans, but not go out to bid. So that's probably a perfect meeting to talk about the ad alternates. And anything else we need to subtract or add.
But we'll send them
Yeah.
well ahead of time. So
We're
we
not
can-
gonna-
Adding negative numbers.
Debating over negative ads and positive ads.
I'm putting a
Same.
note on SharePoint right now for our February 10th meeting to talk about adults, so I do not forget.
Thank you, Lauren. That's excellent. So do we have any other business for today?
Well, I wouldn't mind talking about this sheet that has the numbers on it. Yeah, I don't have, the one that has the various cost estimates on it.
Yeah. What do you
I
want to
don't
say about that,
understand.
Fred? I think what's gonna happen on that is that we're not accepting it. We're
Yes.
basically saying the two estimators
We're not
need
there.
to talk about it next week.
Yeah.
And work it out, refine it a little more. Because really, in this
We're
room,
good.
we could talk about it for 3 days. It
Right.
wouldn't help us at all.
So I just want to know that what these the different cuts, the same numbers. This one, there are 4 different sets of
All right.
numbers.
What,
Yeah, I could outline it quickly. So it was just showing the whole process. So what we put together for
Which
the
is which one?
PF. PF is the initial SRF submission.
Okay,
I think what year it is, July 2024. That we worked on. That was the initial 170 million and how we broke it down.
okay,
And then there's a column for the SRF construction stage submission, which was October, which is when we kind of reevaluated some of the costs back and forth, moved money around. Like, I think we put maybe a little more in the plant at that point, or that was just our basic.
Grinder pumps.
Yeah, more gravity pumps. And that was for the construction stage application for the 170. And then the other columns are, you mentioned at last CPC, what does it look like if we use GHD's estimate? And then what does it look like if we use TCI's really high estimate? And how does that affect the total?
all right, that's the next block, right?
It's cost.
And then keeping in mind,
Good memory.
SRF, so the way we did the numbers before is they only let you have 10% construction contingency in the cost estimates that you submit
Listen,
as a separate line item. That's what the construction contingency is. And I think on the last item, I changed it to 5% because post bid, like once we get the bids in, they only allow 5%, or you might not get 5% if the pack isn't high enough for the town appropriation, so.
but if your estimate is carrying 20%, what does that mean?
That's a design
Yeah.
contingency. That's understanding that they may not fully understand the job or
Yeah.
we're not quite done designing.
It's not like an extra 20% on the
Yeah.
back end to count as a contingency. It's the design contingency. right?
The
That's-
5% that
And the number
SRF
that
wants.
goes into SRF,
no,
let's say all things don't change, it's 20, whatever the number is plus the 20%.
No, the 20% is included in that number.
I said,
And then the 5%, I think like Sandy was saying, that's, you get that post bid, and then that's more for like change orders. If you
They know things happen. They know that.
Right.
Oh, they got a better way. There's gonna be credits and costs and it's normal. for the-
Unforeseen
But
subsurface
It's
conditions.
part of your budget and I don't, I've never had them let me do less than 5%.
that's gonna be.
Maybe you have, but I have not. They insist on 5%.
Or if, I think we've had if you run out of money, so like if we're at 170.
Then you gotta come, yeah.
Yeah, 3%,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah. But they know things happen and they want to know that you've got the money to handle the things that happen, and 5% is a reasonable number. And it's part of your budget, so.
So for, treatment plants, that 5% is a good number? Is it?
Once we get bids,
So you get to, when you get a bid time and you're 100% design and you're ready to go, 5% is a number to carry, yes.
so you take the bid that you get, which
Right.
hopefully will be under our estimate, and then you add
For high
5% to
school,
it.
That's different.
Is it?
Was the high school much higher than 5%?
Yeah, we carried 8% and it wasn't enough. In our OPM, we recommended 10% actually. So. I just want.
Well,
They did have
5%.
conditions, so that's a renovation
Oh.
and a building project, so
Oh.
they had existing conditions, they didn't know whether they were gonna find asbestos, they had all kinds of.
I actually negotiated a 10% with SRF because I said, we gotta look at stuff, and it's small jobs. So they will, less reasonable now, less willing now, because of the tightness of funding.
Less willing to, I'm sorry.
I had a job, it's a small job, but I negotiated, I said, can we have 10% because it's a small job at renovating a treatment plant,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've got to uncover this before I know what to do, and 5% of a small job is a lot of money. They said, that's fine. So they let us have the 10%. But when you're talking 50 million or 60 million or whatever it is, 5% is a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, in rehab, a lot of things could go wrong, right? And,
No, I understand.
but this is a brand new building. Like Dave said, subsurface conditions probably could be one of the conflicts, could be some other
We've
things.
touched pretty much every part of that site before.
Pretty much,
So the answer is 5% is.
5% is
Trade.
adequate and acceptable. It's a norm.
It's industry
general
standard.
industry standard.
Right.
Industry.
It's reasonable.
I mean, if you have a bunch of money sitting around, then at least you have something to fall back on in case you need to add something, right? It's
Yeah.
nice to have, but 5% is sufficient.
What the other tables that came out with that agenda that we were gonna get a packet of, but and we didn't get it. But I mean, it came with the agenda. Yeah, all the other.
Oh, I didn't print them off. I mean, know the details these guys do.
I didn't know, I just got them before we came up here.
You mean this? And the ones that went out.
Yeah, this one.
Oh, I think that, oh, you mean the backup, so that was
This
back.
back-
the-
These are-
the-
these are-
Election system.
The 70 million,
Right.
76 million, 870.3.
So we had the two different estimates for the plant. But for the collection system, you just do your own estimate and it's easier to estimate, so we're pretty comfortable.
Yes.
And do you carry a contingency for the collection system estimate?
We
The
have,
designer,
yeah,
5%.
I mean, same thing, by the time we get the 100%, we'll be about 5%.
And this one is 90.
Our design right now, yeah, we're about 9% of.
When the collection system goes out to bid, Apex bids that?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not like the water side of things. Is it no include on that side? Water something.
No pre-quals, no, this is chapter 30, linear construction.
And just some of the same guys we work with on water do this work, I assume.
Yeah,
A lot of these contractors will, like the Robert B. Hours, the CC Constructions, RJB, and whoever's bidding right now. There's a lot of competition now coming down the Cape. I know Dennis had a bunch of new contractors coming in, as opposed to the good old days was just Robert B. Hour and CC Construction.
Well, I don't think CC was here before we started doing water.
well, we hadn't heard of them, but I.
They were new.
CC Construction?
They've done work
Yeah.
on Cape,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they're in Dennis, right? That's.
yeah,
But we hadn't heard of them.
No, we hadn't. we
I
hadn't
see them
done.
all over.
They got bigger in the last
Yeah.
14 years, 20 years.
Has, yeah, all
Pretty big
this
now.
work has really
We helped them.
They
been
do fine.
great. for-
They do fine. Big it's coming up. There's a bunch of.
They were aggressive. Which I like them.
And of course, that's good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be especially, I'm
Yeah.
really encouraged by
Yeah.
the pre-qualification. That is a huge, I mean, if we'd only gotten a couple of general contractors, that would have been a really bad sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the fact you got a bunch that you think highly of.
Yeah, I
On the
mean.
GC
I'm
side.
sure these guys worked with a bunch of them. I mean, right off, I mean, I'm not discounting anybody. Whoever submitted on this today, they're qualified to do this work. I mean, they've done work similar to this.
Nice.
Some of them you like to see, some of them not so much. But,
There's one I don't know.
and then some we never heard of. So, but, again, you have an 8 or 9. If half of them submit, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Bid.
Well, I will say also for the general contractors and the key filed sub bids, which would be electrical, HVAC, plumbing, we require them to have wastewater experience.
Oh,
Absolutely. They've got to have significant experience doing wastewater treatment. It's a different animal. It also shows industrial construction.
all that piping that's in the plant.
And also like the electrical, they have to understand what it means to work in a hazardous area with wastewater. They have to, and many of, if you're doing commercial buildings, it's not your bread and butter. So they can underestimate it. That's bad. So it's important. And the GCs who do wait also, yeah, we want you want to know that you can put a bike together. You understand. And they have to be able to make the thing run, so they gotta understand process. They gotta be able to understand some of the controls. that
But they
go
don't
on.
necessarily have to have built a plant before, okay?
Yes,
Oh, they do that.
absolutely.
Oh.
In fact, we will require that their superintendents and their project managers be named. And when they bid it, they're gonna submit a stable of them. And then when they bid it, we're gonna say, I wanna know who you guys are, and no baits and switch. So it's a possible way of disqualifying them. But it's also a way I can say, you didn't show any management personnel, and I know your people are retiring. Come on, tell me what's going on. And then they come up with, okay, well, we're hiring so-and-so, or they back out. They know they're not gonna be able to do it.
Take it out.
I mean, they're good contractors, but that doesn't mean you wanna go out on a limb with them.
Sometimes you have a very good contractor, but you only get the C team.
Mhm.
when you're on the job,
Yeah.
right? That-
Been there, done that.
I mean, you look at the list of electrical and HVAC people that are solids can be, I mean, you know, like every single one of them is. But then again, it all depends who you're gonna get on the job. You know, what team are you gonna get? Are you getting the A team or the D team?
I said. Get no control.
So this one, the contract schedule for bid for the
Lighting system?
collision system, 1 and 2,
Yes.
and what about the rest of them? It don't,
Well, we're gonna try to push them as much as we can further down the line, but we're gonna stagger them a little bit. Make them competitive and just, you know, bid to like,
so how do you control or anticipate the cost of that if you're not gonna bid them right?
so we're going to bid them in the same calendar year. So basically, we're doing 2 in the spring and then 2 to follow, like towards the fall or whatever, and then the pump stations would be the last one.
Yeah. So, but we have to decide whether within our budget before then. So what happens if these straggling bids come in and it's on you, or how does that work?
Uh, No, that's a good question. I never thought of it this way. Obviously, you wanna be able to,
Well,
Yeah,
that's
we
what-
have
Well, we
to,
managed
Or
to
the
do
plant, you have to-
water, we just, you
Yeah.
know,
What?
we have what we have, so say the plant comes in at a certain amount.
yeah,
And your
We're
first
signing a
two,
contract for that, because we know we'll have that.
and two collection
And 2
systems.
collection systems, and then we could always have a fall town meeting later
Okay,
if we
right,
needed to.
okay.
So, and that's how we did it with water, we just kept deducting, right?
So you might not be able to, God forbid,
Yeah.
what do you have, 4 of them?
we have 5.
5 of them, so maybe number 5, you can't bid under your SRF, or you,
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's probably one way to look at it, but then.
it's not like an alternate.
So, gonna accept that?
Well, that's what I think Lauren and I were kind of game planning last week. We'd have to see what they come in at, what the appropriation is. Do we submit another PEF in July to get on the next IUP for one of the contracts? Because the initial SRF discussion is, money's really tight. You don't get a penny more than 170 million, so then it's like.
Did
with
you,
them.
so we just got, and it's not official, but we just got an email yesterday, and I know this is late in the meeting to say, but I don't know how true it is, but it's from a very good source saying the federal government has now pledged a certain amount to SRF, to EPA, 3 different agencies, including funding clean water.
Hmm.
So the state may be receiving more, the funding may be closer to what they used to have than
Mhm.
what they were anticipating.
Great.
I wouldn't. Count on it, it's great news.
Right?
It's, it's not bad news.
It's not bad news.
So,
They are, I think we all know that the money became tighter and the demand became greater.
yes,
So more and more towns are going after this money and the costs are up. So it's competitive. Yeah.
but the Cape is under a consent order. We do have, we believe.
You're doing your part.
We're required to do it, so it's difficult, but.
And I think that's why we've been getting a lot of
Yeah,
funding, but
absolutely.
I think that's a very good question without knowing those other 3 contracts. What alternates are you going to go with? You
Well, not.
can change order an alternate in as
Sorry.
long as it doesn't. Sorry.
I don't have to sell the roads.
It's a couple of years. This summer.
No, the salt shed is right where the beds are going. That's.
They could go in, they could go in at the end though.
Frequent thing though, we could probably
could-
work.
Yeah, yeah. it could work.
But if we're gonna do that, we will put a constraint on the plant job. You can't build these until a year later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we can do that.
Yeah, we could work the salt shed into capital, probably, Johnson.
We have a plan.
We have a plan.
We have a.
Yeah.
I
But you might get it.
don't know.
But you can change order a alternate and you may not get the same price. But you can't change order it if it would have changed the order, like if you did it, if it had changed your bidder, that's a no-no. So if you go, let's say you have 4 alternates, you award 2. If you award the third one, it would have been a different bidder.
Oh, I
Can't
see.
do that. That's bad politics. That's plain game.
Because somebody's gonna protest. One bill.
They may, and rightfully so. It's just,
Of course.
it's bad form.
It's deceiving in many
And
ways.
we will strongly advise you not to do that.
I just think though, if you're bidding, I mean, I know that all these jobs are not 1-year jobs, so you're bidding out a long time and
Right.
they are going to be very tempted if contract 5 is in year 3. They're gonna be very tempted to be very high in price, putting it over that period of time. So the way we were able to do it in water, where we could cut it into phases, it saved us millions. Because we bid as we went. So,
So linear, the
the
price,
treatment plan, I know we can't do, but if we
Yeah.
could possibly squeak in a couple of those other contracts, I think that would be good.
I mean, linear work is probably very competitive. The price is not gonna change much. We have the pump stations as a standalone contract that would be at the tail end of the project. Now, pump stations could go up, right, because they're not pipe, right? I mean, you got pumps, you got, like concrete structures and generators and so on and so forth. That could go up potentially. I think the collection system, if you were to bid all of it, you could probably sit here and say, okay, what you see for price is probably what you're gonna get. Right, what we have on that cost estimate. The wild card obviously is the plant, or you have pumping stations where you have equipment and things of that nature that tend to drive the price a little bit higher. But piping is gonna be the same old.
We just bid 6 linear projects in the last 6 months and they were all under
Oh, good.
they were
Excellent.
under our estimate. Comfortably, our estimate is right there. But the
I know
pump station-
Steve has had his hand up for a while.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Oh, that's all right. I just want to clarify. So for the end of June, you only have to do contract 1 and 2 for the collection system. You don't have to do 3, 4, and 5. Is that correct? As far as bidding?
We do not have that in writing from DEP or SRF, but we are hoping to be able to negotiate that.
Okay. So as far as negotiating it, you'd have to have an agreement in the next month or 2, right?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
anything else? We good? Motion to adjourn? Fred, you can do it and Peter will second.
Okay. I did.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, everybody.
Good to see you both, Steves.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Steve.
All right. Take it easy.
Talk soon, guys. Lauren.
Bye, everybody. Talk soon. Bye.
24 hours, 50 minutes.
Jen, you can stick around for.
Yeah, absolutely. I can, and I will.
I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Sandy Tripp.
I'm John Ruffley.
John, nice to meet you. I figured the DPW part. He's the man to get to know.
Thanks for coming down.
Oh, that's. No big deal.
It's powerful days.
Yeah.
You coming from
He's the only one that came from anywhere. We'd live like.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
How long, do you just do like a night and then go back?
I'm up here all week.
Good. Feels so bad.
So are you working on another project?
Yeah, I've got also Wareham.
Yeah, I'm just seeing.
So working on that, working on this.
GHD didn't
Yeah,
do
that's what you said.
Provincetown, did they?
No, I live on Cape.
Oh,
I
you
have,
Sandy,
yeah,
GHD,
Provincetown, they didn't do Provincetown.
we did,
We-
we've done a lot of work up there, but not the collection, not the sewers, no. We did the study, I think.
Yeah, something. Okay.
We did the CWMP and planning, I believe. But that was before my time up here.
I know you're working with Wellfleet and Truro. But it's totally different too.
Hopefully the Antwerp.
They're both working with GHD, but they have a different, totally different.
Who's that?
I know Anastasia's on, Wellfleet, and I don't know who's in Truro, but I know they like them very much, whoever.
Sarah, maybe?
Maybe.
I think it's Anastasia.
Yes.
If it's, because we're studying, she and Jeff do the
Yeah.
majority of our planning.
Yeah.
And then new
Jeff.
people coming up. It could be Jeff too,
I don't
but
think so.
I think it's Anastasia, to be honest.
I feel like she's doing most of the.
Might be
planning.
Lydia, you know, there, we've got,
Well, and if
some
you're
younger
doing
people
Wellfleet,
coming
Truro,
up.
so.
So you guys are done with us?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm just moving it. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. We will see
David, you need to
you
come out at any time the rest of this week too.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
We're there.
Yeah. I'm up here.
This is done.
It's a lot shorter drive than usually what they do, so.
Well, it's an easy meeting.
I think they, oh no.
Oh, but then, okay.
the meeting.
Oh,
I can't hear tomorrow.
you need to end the meeting?
Evidently, I didn't-
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
I think I
Thank
could
you.
do that
Yes.
myself.
Yeah.
All right.
well, we're still in court.
So we can get.
End the meeting.
And we're still in court.
And then, and